Good morning. Welcome to Morning Special. 여러분 안녕하세요. 2월 6일 목요일 최수진의 Morning Special입니다. The perfect representation of a time period can be found in architecture. Buildings, bridges, plazas, and even arcades are virtually doors to a certain past, reflecting the importance, artistic value, and significance of various chapters in our history. And these doors are found, fortunately, in many corners of the city. 최근 서울시가 서울시 우수 건축 자산을 선정했다고 합니다. 서울시에 위치한 총 8개의 건축물 또는 장소가 그 역사적인 가치, 예술적인 가치를 인정받은 건데요. 우선 우수 건축 자산으로 인정받은 건축물은 북촌 한옥청, 경복고등학교 체육관, 서울공예박물관 직물관 등이 선정됐고요. 장소로 인정받은 세 곳인데요. 명동 지하상가, 도남문로, 사직터널이라고 합니다. 우수 건축 자산으로 선정되면 건축법, 주차장법 등 관계 법령의 혜택을 받을 수 있고요. 민간 자산인 경우 최대 1억 원의 관리 비용을 지원받을 수 있다고 합니다. Well, as long as we do our best to preserve these architectural assets, the structures will continue to teach us not only about a time gone by, but a moment when art itself was born. And with that in mind, here's a quiz question. Which of these three structures is the oldest? 1번, 첨성대 Observatory, 2번, World Cup Stadium, 3번, EBS 일산 Headquarters. 오늘도 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있습니다. 퀴즈 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 마르세유 비누 세트 보내드리겠습니다. 여러분의 사연, 소식, 소감, 방송 중 궁금한 질문 있으시면 모두 보내주시고요. 반디 게시판 무료로 이용할 수 있습니다. 짧은 문자는 50원, 긴 문자는 100원에 샵 1045로도 보내주시면 되겠습니다. Okay, then let's kick off today's show with today's global headlines. 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
Indonesia has imposed a travel ban to and from China as an effort to prevent a deadly coronavirus from spreading into the country.
인도네시아가 신종 코로나 바이러스 감염증 예방을 위해 중국 본토를 오가는 모든 여객기 운항을 중단했습니다.
The UK government has chartered a final flight to bring British nationals back from the Chinese city of Wuhan.
영국 정부가 중국 후베이성 우한에서 자국민을 추가로 철수시키기 위한 마지막 전세기를 보내기로 했습니다.
A Chinese man has allegedly lied about a recent visit to Wuhan, causing the quarantine of more than 4,000 who may have come into contact with him at different events over the past weeks.
중국에서 우한 방문 사실을 숨기고 수차례 대규모 연회에 참석한 남성 때문에 4천여 명이 자가 격리에 처해졌습니다.
Pete Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, has taken the lead in the Iowa caucuses, according to a partial release of a majority of the results by the state Democratic Party.
38세의 신예 피트 부티지지 전 미국 인디애나주 사우스밴드 시장이 민주당 대선 경선 레이스의 첫 관문인 아이오와 코커스 개표 중간 집계에서 1위에 오르는 대이변을 연출했습니다.
The wife of the Prime Minister of Lesotho is to be formally charged in court for murder.
토머스 타바네 레소토 총리의 부인 마에사이아 타바네가 살인 혐의로 체포됐습니다. And for the headlines and more, I'm joined by Steve. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Another chilly morning.
It's so cold.
Yeah, colder than yesterday, perhaps, this morning?
I believe so, and it's going to get even colder tomorrow.
Yeah, but I was looking at the temperatures. Let me just grab my phone real quick and check out the weather app because I checked yesterday and I was shocked to see that this may be very short-lived, this cold spell, because I thought that I saw that next week would be quite warm in terms of its temperatures. And I was right. It's still set for that next week. So it's minus 12 in Goyangsi right now, according to my phone. But next Tuesday, 11 degrees. Next Wednesday, 10 degrees. Next Thursday, 11 degrees.
Wow.
It's like this week is super winter and next week spring is coming. It's weird, isn't it?
It is very weird. But you know, there's a term to sort of describe this in Korea. It's called 꽃샘추위.
Okay.
And that means the flowers are jealous.
Yes,
And
of
so-
the wind or something,
Something
right?
like that.
Yeah.
And so, or maybe the wind is jealous of the flowers. I don't know which way it is. But something is jealous out there and it's making the weather unusually cold.
Yes, but at least today and tomorrow we'll be better prepared. I think a lot of us were in shock yesterday morning when we left the house and it was freezing cold, right? I like the opening today. And you know, that's one of the things that I have long said that I love about Korea is that you know, with the modern comes the old. If you walk around Seoul, Seoul is such a cool city that way, is that, you know, you can look to your right and you'll see skyscrapers and look to your left and you'll see an old palace. That's cool. So I have said for many years, I have long said as well, that I want to have a hanok if I ever retire in Canada. But the hanok will be super modern on the inside. So looking very old and traditional on the outside and all the modern amenities on the inside.
Yeah, that would be a dream actually.
Wouldn't it though?
Yeah, it really would. 네, 오늘 오프닝에서는 서울시 우수 건축 자산이 선정됐다는 소식을 전해드렸습니다. 여러분이 생각하는 여러분이 사는 곳에 그 아름다운 건축물 어떤 게 있을까요? 사연 보내주시면 감사하겠습니다. All right, well, let's go over the headlines.
Headline number one this morning. Indonesia, has imposed a travel ban to and from China as an effort to prevent a deadly coronavirus from spreading into the country.
인도네시아가 신종 코로나 바이러스 감염증 예방을 위해 중국 본토를 오가는 모든 여객기 운항을 중단했습니다.
Transportation Minister Budi Karya Sumadi confirmed that Indonesia would be sticking to this travel ban. It took effect at 12 a.m. on Wednesday local time, so that's midnight, right? And that's what Mr. Budi said talking to reporters on Tuesday. Yes, it will start at midnight. We are doing what other countries have already done. We have been very careful about this. Mr. Budi said meetings with the management of domestic airlines would take place on Wednesday to discuss related matters. That happened yesterday, including the calculation of potential losses that they may suffer as a result of the policy.
And if I'm reading this correctly, Indonesia currently has no confirmed cases of the new coronavirus, and they want to keep it that way.
Yes, exactly. And this has upset, I guess we can use that word, the Chinese ambassador to Indonesia, Zhao Qian, who had previously asked Indonesia to follow the advice of the World Health Organization, which has not recommended that countries restrict travel to and from China despite having declared a global emergency. Mr. Zhao said he understood that some countries were taking rational action in the face of the coronavirus outbreak, such as tightening immigration security, but here's the quote, Indonesia and China are neighbors and good friends. I believe that actions other than restrictions will have a direct impact on the relationship.
Meanwhile, neighboring Malaysia recently saw 2 confirmed cases after they flew in 2 Chinese passengers. And so Indonesia is saying, you know, see what's happened right next door in Malaysia. We don't want that to happen here.
Yes, exactly. And Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi told a news conference on Sunday that was televised that Indonesia would immediately bar visitors who had been in China for 14 days. And earlier on Sunday, the government flew 243 Indonesian Indonesians from China and place them under quarantine at a military base in a sparsely populated area in a group of islands. And Mr. Budi said that the government was also discussing efforts to handle around 3,000 Indonesian citizens who were still in China at the moment. One of the options that they're looking at is transiting those people into a country that has not imposed a travel ban on China.
Meanwhile, about 20,000 extra masks have been provided for the Korean nationals living in Indonesia. 신종 코로나 확진자가 인도네시아에서 현재 한 명도 없다고 합니다. 인도네시아에서는 앞으로도 쭉 이렇게 확진자가 없는 상태를 유지하기 위해서 여객기의 중국 노선을 모두 중단하겠다 이런 얘기를 하고 있는데요. 중국 측에서는 과잉 반응이 아니냐 이런 얘기가 나오고 있습니다. 한편 인도네시아에 있는 한인회에서는 마스크가 한 2만 장 정도 확보가 됐다는 소식까지 들려오고 있습니다.
One of the Chinese ambassador's points was that this actually harms Indonesia's tourism and economy because there are a lot of Chinese tourists that visit Indonesia on a yearly basis. In fact, about 2 million a year. And Indonesia acknowledges that, and they say it's going to be a big challenge for the country's tourism. But they did say that they would try to boost domestic tourism and encourage local tourists to travel within the country.
All right. Well, moving on from Indonesia to the UK.
The UK government has chartered a final flight to bring British nationals back from the Chinese city of Wuhan.
네, 영국 소식입니다. 영국 정부가 중국 후베이성 우한에서 자국민을 추가로 철수시키기 위한 마지막 전세기를 보내기로 했습니다.
The plane will be leaving in the early hours of Sunday morning, and it comes as Britons in mainland China have been urged to leave the country. More than 100 UK nationals and family members have already been evacuated to Britain from Wuhan, and between 150 and 200 Britons and their dependents remain in Hubei province where the outbreak began, and about 100 have asked for help to leave. Another further 8 UK nationals and 6 of their family members, they left on a flight to New Zealand on Tuesday.
네, 영국에서는 이제 두 번째이자 마지막으로 전세기를 보낼 것이다 이렇게 밝히면서 중국을 떠나기 원하는 영국 국민들은 등록해달라 이런 얘기를 하고 있고요. 9일 날 중국 우한을 출발해서 영국으로 갈 것으로 이렇게 전해지고 있습니다. Lots of other countries have been doing similar things.
Yeah, Korea is one of those countries, of course. I think the number is about 700 South Koreans in recent days have been taken to 2 quarantine centers south of Seoul. They're going to be kept in isolation for 2 weeks there. America has done the same thing. Canada as well. Hundreds of Canadians are actually awaiting evacuation from Wuhan. Canada announced on Sunday that it had chartered an aircraft to evacuate 304 people from the city, and all of the visas for the crews have been approved, and Canada is now awaiting final approval from Beijing for that. Australia has already evacuated people. Japan, the list of countries is long.
네, 그렇습니다. 우리가 영국 소식을 지금 전해드렸지만 영국뿐만 아니라 이렇게 전세기를 보내서 자국민을 철수시키는 사례가 늘어나고 있습니다. 우리나라도 뭐 아시다시피 진작에 전세기를 보내서 한 700여 명이 돌아왔고요. 미국, 캐나다, 호주, 일본 그리고 그 외에 동남아시아에서도 비슷한 케이스가 있는 것으로 이렇게 보여지네요. And some other countries around the world as well. Okay, we'll leave that story there now. And staying with the coronavirus, this next story is about a man who lied in China.
This is the first of these stories that I've heard of, and this is terrifying. A Chinese man, this is the headline, a Chinese man has allegedly lied about a recent visit to Wuhan, causing the quarantine of more than 4,000 who may have come into contact with him at different events over the past weeks.
중국에서 우한 방문 사실을 숨기고 수차례 대규모 연회에 참석한 남성 때문에 4천여 명이 자가격리에 처해졌습니다.
Netizens are furious over this reckless behavior from this man that has resulted once again in the quarantine of more than 4,000 people who may have come into contact with him over the past week. So this is what happened. He's a guy from Xinjiang City in Fujian province. And what he did was, reportedly, he concealed his travel history to Wuhan. He claimed that he returned from a trip with his family to the Philippines. So rather than conduct a self-quarantine, and we have been hearing that governments are asking people to self-quarantine, right? Instead of doing that, he moved around the city and he went from one gathering to another. According to online accounts, he at least made appearances at a large wedding banquet and also an ancestral hall event last month, and this has had a combined attendance, those events had a combined attendance of more than 4,000 people.
네, 그렇습니다. 필리핀에 다녀왔다. 이렇게 거짓말을 했는데요. 사실은 필리핀에 다녀오지 않았고 우한에 다녀왔던 것입니다. 이 남성은 이제 장모 씨로만 지금 밝혀지고 있습니다만 중국 푸젠성 출신이라고 합니다. 우한에 다녀와서 굉장히 많은 사람들이 모여있는 연회에 참석하고 결혼 피로연회도 다녀오고 결국은 이제 지난 2일 신종 코로나 확진 판정을 받았는데요. 그와 관련해서 또 다른 7명이 확진 판정을 받았고 4,000명 이상이 자가격리에 처해지게 됐습니다.
Yeah, this is incredibly selfish behavior. And he
Yeah.
has been confirmed as having the new virus. And at that wedding, he was seen toasting guests table by table. He was moving from table to table, talking to people, increasing the odds of spreading the illness. They say from the ancestral hall event, allegedly there were 10 guests from Taiwan, but that information has not been verified. But you can see easily why the internet is absolutely furious with this man.
Indeed. Okay, we'll leave the coronavirus stories there and move on to the United States.
Headline number 4 this morning, Pete Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, has taken the lead in the Iowa caucuses according to a partial release of a majority of the results by the state Democratic Party.
38세의 신예 피트 부티지지 전 미국 인디애나주 사우스밴드 시장이 민주당 대선 경선 레이스의 첫 관문인 아이오와 코커스 개표 중간 집계에서 1위에 오르는 대이변을 연출했습니다.
Yeah, so this was a bit of a mess, wasn't it, from the Democratic Party? And we talked about it a bit yesterday where they had a problem with an application on their phone. They were not able to send in the reports of the votes. Therefore, they tried the phones. That didn't work. So they had to do it all by hand. And now we have the most recent updates with 86%, I'm reading CNN from this morning, with 86% of Iowa's precincts reporting. Former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg remains the leader in the race. So he stands at 26.7% of the total votes. Bernie Sanders is in second place, 24.9%. Elizabeth Warren, 17.9%. And Joe Biden coming in fourth at 15.9%. They are still counting. They have a little bit more to go.
Right, facing off against these political heavyweights, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and even Elizabeth Warren. People, I don't think, expected Pete Buttigieg to come in first. He did have a good chance to, they said, come in the top 3. But according to the latest results, as you said, it's a huge turnaround. And it seems like what could end up in the first victory for him in the run-up of caucuses.
Yes, they'll be moving over to the East Coast for their next caucus now. Another surprise I was reading was that Joe Biden is in fourth place. Now, they say Iowa has never really been a state for Joe Biden, but considering he's the former vice president of the United States, going up against a former mayor of a relatively small town in South Bend, Indiana, this might be seen as a surprising result as well.
네, 그렇습니다. 미국의 이제 경선 레이스 첫 관문이죠. 아이오와에서 공화당과 민주당이 다 각각 이렇게 후보에 대한 경선이 치러졌는데요. 공화당에서는 어제 말씀드린 바와 같이 압도적으로 트럼프 대통령이 1위를 했고요. 그다음에 지금 민주당 같은 경우에는 원래 집계를 핸드폰 앱으로, 스마트폰 앱으로 하려고 했었는데 이게 뭔가 좀 문제가 생기는 바람에 앱으로 집계하지 못하고 지금 일일이 아이오와에 있는 모든 지역에 연락을 서로 취하면서 이렇게 좀 매뉴얼리 세고 있다고 합니다. 그래서 시간이 좀 걸리고 있어요. 아직까지도 개표가 다 되지는 않았다고 하는데 거의 다 됐죠. 뭐 한 80% 이상이 개표가 된 상황에서 피트 부티지지 유일한 30대의 후보입니다. 1위를 하고 있어요.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
Yes,
and
the other people are in their 70s.
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, they're moving to the East Coast for the next caucuses. New Hampshire is up next, but it's, interesting that New Hampshire is going to begin
Yeah.
while they're still counting Iowa.
yeah,
Not a good look for the Democratic Party to kick off the 2020 elections.
Indeed, very interesting. Lots of news actually came out from the United States yesterday, and we'll maybe touch upon that later today or tomorrow as well. And that includes the State of Union address, which was very dramatic.
And the president's acquittal.
Indeed. All right. Well, let's leave that there and move on to our final headline.
The wife of the Prime Minister of Lesotho is to be formally charged in court for murder.
토마스 타바네 레소토 총리의 부인 마이 사이야 타바네가 살인 혐의로 체포됐습니다.
First Lady Messiah Tabane handed herself in to be questioned by police in the Southern African Mountain Kingdom. Prime Minister Thomas Tabane has also been questioned about the killing. And the killing was his estranged wife, Lipolelo Tabane, who was shot dead outside her home in the capital of Maseru 2 days before Mr. Tabane's inauguration in 2017. At the time, the couple were involved in bitter divorce proceedings. The attack was originally blamed on unknown armed men, but recent court papers filed by the country's police commissioner, Halomo Molibeli, have raised further questions, and an arrest warrant was issued for Mr. Tabane's wife. She's 42 years old. It was issued on the 10th of January, and she was, quote-unquote, picked up from the border with South Africa on Tuesday. She is being held. She is now in custody and formally charged in court on Wednesday.
2 months after the former wife was killed, Messiah Tabane, the First Lady, she married the Prime Minister. So, things moved very, very fast and people were a little bit suspicious, but they didn't know up until that point. Now, she has been charged.
Exactly. So what happened was it was one evening she was returning home and she was ambushed and shot several times at close range and she died on the side of the road. Now, initially, as I mentioned, unknown armed men were blamed for the murder, but there's new evidence now, and the evidence was seen by AFP News, and they included a copy of a letter. That included a copy of a letter that the police chief wrote to Mr. Tabane. This is what the letter said. This letter was dated December 23rd, 2019. This is what it said. The investigations revealed that there was a telephonic communication at the scene of the crime in question with another cell phone. The cell phone number belongs to you.
Oh dear.
Sounds like a Hollywood movie, doesn't it?
그렇습니다. 드라마에서 나올 법한 그런 일이 벌어진 것 같습니다. 레소토 총리의 전 부인이 레소토 총리가 취임하기 이틀 전에 살해가 됐습니다. 그런데 현 부인이 그 살인 혐의를 받고 체포가 됐다는 소식입니다. All right. Well, those were our stories this morning. Let's remind our listeners of the quiz.
Quiz question this morning. Which of these 3 structures is the oldest? Number 1, Chomseongdae Observatory. Did I say that correctly?
You said it perfectly.
Chomseongdae Observatory. Number 2, World Cup Stadium. Or number 3, EBS Ilsan Headquarters.
네, 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시고요. 반디 게시판 무료로 이용할 수 있습니다. 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 마르세유 비누 세트 보내드릴게요. 노래 듣고 와서 여러분의 사연도 살펴보고 뉴스 포커스 보겠습니다. 카스카다의 Every Time We Touch 듣고 올게요. You're listening to Morning Special and it's time to take a look at your messages. 김태용님 반갑습니다. 신종 코로나 국내 환자가 4명 추가됐다고 하네요 라고 보내주셨어요. 그러게요. 지금 국내 총 23명이라고 합니다. 그렇지만 또 이제 한편으로는 완쾌돼서 퇴원하시는 분들도 계세요. 이제 최초에 확진을 받으셨던 분들 중에 계십니다. 그래서 얼른 좀 다 좀 나으셨으면 좋겠고 현재까지 국내는 김태용님 말씀하시는 것처럼 총 24명의 확진자가 있습니다. 날씨 굉장히 춥습니다. 0894님이요. 많이 춥네요. 감기 조심하세요 하셨습니다. 네, 수진쌤, 스티브쌤 매일 듣기만 잘하는 트레일러 기사입니다. 오늘도 따뜻한 방송 기대합니다. 사랑합니다 모닝스페셜이라고 보내주셨어요. This person is a trailer driver, a tractor driver?
Tractor trailer driver.
A tractor,
Yeah.
what's that?
Well, in another term for that, I think we call it an 18-wheeler.
Oh, the really long
The
ones.
big trucks. The big transport trucks. Yeah, in Canada we call those 18-wheelers. What do you call them in the UK?
I don't know.
Like a giant lorry?
Lorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, trucks are normally lorries.
Yeah.
아, 그렇군요.
That's a really difficult job because you're driving, oftentimes you're always driving, but oftentimes you're driving straight through the night. So it's a very, very challenging job to
그러게요.
have.
정말
Yeah.
고생이 많으시네요. 미국이랑 캐나다에서는 18wheeler라고 한다고 합니다. 바퀴가 8개인가요? 18개?
Yeah, I think so.
그래요.
I guess so. I've never
Yeah.
counted. That's just the term I've heard many, many times.
정말
Yeah.
정말 힘든 일 하시고 계시는데 대표해서 제가 정말 감사하다는 말씀 드리도록 하겠습니다. 날씨도 추운데요. 따뜻하게 계셨으면 좋겠습니다. 0894님 사연 감사합니다. 그리고 아까 오프닝에서 스티브 선생님이랑 같이 뭐 꽃샘추위 얘기를 잠깐 했었어요. 그랬더니 진은경님이 It's very weird, isn't it, that the flowers are jealous? 이렇게 보내주셨는데, yeah, again, like I said, I'm not exactly sure if it's the cold. It might be the cold that is jealous that the flowers are about to bloom, so they're holding on to the weather. You
That
know?
makes more sense, right?
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
flowers are ready to come out, and
Yeah,
then the
they're like,
wind is
"No."
jealous, and
Yeah.
one last big
Exactly.
blowing of the wind.
Yeah, the cold snap, as you might say in English. 네, 이제 마지막 한파인 것 같습니다. The last cold snap of the season. Hopefully this week. Yes, fingers crossed. 그리고 김리원님의 사연입니다. 수원에서 사연을 보내주셨군요. 오늘 날씨가 어제보다 쌀쌀하니까 스티브 선생님이 어제 알려주신 표현을 써야겠네요. 뭐였죠? 나이프 윈드? 나이프 윈드는 우리말을 영어로 그냥 직역을 하면은 이렇게 말을 한다는 거고 영어 표현은 아니에요. That's not an English expression.
You said 칼바람.
칼바람, yeah.
Right.
But what's the English expression?
It's a little longer. It's like
Yeah.
a sentence, right? The wind cuts through you like a knife.
네, 바람이 칼처럼 몸을 에이고 이렇게 아주 춥게 한다라는 의미로 The wind cuts through you like a knife. 긴 표현이고요. 우리말로는 칼바람이 분다. 짧은 표현. 짧은 표현이 저는 오늘 좀 마음에 듭니다. But anyhow, you can use both. Keep sending in your messages as well as the answers to the quiz and any questions you might have throughout the show today. Thank you to everyone who's writing in. I'll have an opportunity to introduce and read your messages a bit more later on in the show. We also have 5 Marseille soap sets prepared for you in the first hour. 자, 그러면 뉴스 포커스 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. 첫 번째입니다. 중국에서 신종 코로나 바이러스 감염증의 확산으로 불안감이 커지자 다급해진 일부 주민들이 생수통을 머리에 쓰거나 유자 껍질과 종이컵으로 만든 마스크를 쓰고 다니는 등 자구책을 강구하고 있다고 하는데요. Let's listen to the story.
Desperate times call for desperate measures for travelers trying to ward off the deadly coronavirus, with some covering their heads with plastic bottles. Images have emerged of airline passengers wearing jugs as makeshift space helmets, among other improvised items to protect themselves from catching the disease. A family was seen covered in plastic sheets at one airport terminal, while a man was pictured wearing a motorcycle helmet on a flight from Shanghai to Perth, Australia, and a woman and her child also were spotted strolling through Hong Kong's metro system while wearing oversized plastic jugs on their heads.
네, 지금 보이는 라디오 기사 뒤에 있었던 사진만 저희 한번 다시 볼 수 있을까요? 네, 지금 이 사진들 잘 보시면은 굉장히 큰 생수통을 머리에 헬멧처럼 쓰고 있는 분들도 계시고요. 대형 비닐봉지를 아예 이렇게 상반신으로 다 가리고 있는 그런 분도 계십니다. 아예 유모차를 다 이렇게 비닐로 씌운 케이스도 있고요. 뭐 그 외에도 기내에서 오토바이 헬멧 같은 거를 쓰고 있는 사진도 인터넷상에 오르고 있는데 신종 코로나 바이러스를 확산을 막기 위한 여러 가지 자구책에 나선 모습들입니다.
The plastic bottles look like kanjang bottles, don't they?
Kind of,
Right?
yeah.
Maybe that's what they were.
Yeah.
But I mean, as you can see, the world is in a panic and they are taking every step, every measure that they can to protect themselves. And of course, when we look at these images on the internet, maybe you will chuckle, but it's just people trying to protect themselves, right? By any means necessary.
It's actually quite frightening and sad at the same time. But desperate times call for desperate measures.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. That's right. So, this is an expression that means when times are really, really difficult, then you have to do very, very difficult things or make very, very difficult choices. I'll give you an example. It's a little complicated to explain this expression. So, if you lose your job, again, this is just an example.
Sure.
But if you lose your job, well, then you have to save money, right? So what might you do if you have a car? What might you
Sell
do?
it.
Sell it,
Yeah.
right? So you would if you lose your job, you might sell your car. Losing your job is the desperate time. Selling your car is the desperate measure. Difficult times cause difficult actions. Another example would be if you have never used a dating app before. And I should say that this expression is not always with very, very serious situations, right? You can use this playfully as well.
Sure.
So if your girlfriend broke up with you, right? And you sign up for a dating app, and then your friend sees you using the dating app, you say, oh, I've never seen you on a dating app before. You can say, desperate times call for desperate measures. My girlfriend broke up with me. I'm trying some new action.
아, 그렇군요. Desperate times는 이제 어떤 긴급한, 다급한 상황을 말합니다. 이 경우에는 코로나 바이러스가 빠르게 확산하고 있는 그 상황을 말하고요. 뒤에 나와 있는 call for desperate measures. 그 긴급한 상황 때문에 어떤 긴급한 대책을 마련해야 된다라는 뜻이에요. 지금 마스크도 부족하다고 하고요. 바이러스는 확산되고 있고 그러다 보니까 뭐 생수통이라도 아니면은 뭐 오토바이 헬멧이라도 쓰자라고 하면서 이렇게 평소에는 하지 않는 그런 desperate measures를 취하고 있다 이렇게 보시면 되겠습니다.
Now, if that's too difficult to remember, desperate times call for desperate measures, we can shorten this and make it a lot easier. All you have to say is desperate times.
아,
Right? So if your friend, I'll give the dating app example again. If your friend sees you using the dating app, oh, I didn't know are you new or you're using a dating app? You can say, desperate times.
아하, 그렇군요.
And that means desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the proverb, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Exactly.
Just say when in Rome.
Yeah, good example.
네, 긴 속담이지만 이걸 그냥 줄여서 desperate times라고만 해도 뒷부분을 다 이해를 합니다. 그래서 상황이 급하다 보니 이렇게까지만 얘기를 하시면 그래서 내가 이렇게 행동을 하고 있다라는 게 이해가 될 것 같고요. Makeshift.
Yes. Okay. So let me ask you a question. If you were making ramen
아하.
and suddenly you realized, oh my goodness, I don't have a strainer. 한국말로 어떻게 말하죠? Strainer?
거름망?
Okay. So,
I think.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I have no strainer. What can I use? What would you do in that situation? If you had to suddenly make a strainer,
Right.
what could you use? My idea, it's dirty, but my idea was, you know those mosquito tennis racket things?
Yeah.
Well, if you poured your noodles over top of that,
okay.
it would work as a strainer. Now, is the tennis racket thing a strainer? No. But in that situation,
Right.
it is. So we call that a makeshift strainer.
아하. 스트레이너는 이제 거르개 또는 채라고 하죠. 근데 이제 만약에 그게 없다라고 할 경우에는 그 외에 뭐 다른 거 비슷하게 생긴 거라도 쓰면 되는데 선생님이 뭐 모기채라도 쓰겠다 이라고 하셨는데 정말 급하면 뭐 그렇게 하겠습니다만 권장은 하지 않습니다. makeshift라는 것은 임시로 어떻게 한다라는 뜻이 있어요.
If you press the button, you'd have fried noodles.
That's true.
If you're at the airport, I'll give you one other example. If you're at the airport and you want to lay down, right, and you don't have a pillow with you, so what can you use?
Your coat.
Your coat. Your coat is a makeshift pillow. Is your coat a pillow? No. But at that time, it is.
임시방편으로 뭔가를 할 때 makeshift라는 표현과 함께 쓸 수 있습니다. 그래서 makeshift space helmet, 우주 비행사가 쓸 것 같은 헬멧을 그 진짜 우주 비행사 헬멧은 아니지만 그 비슷한 것을 이제 만들어서 임시로 착용하는 사람들도 있다. 이런 뉴스가 되겠습니다. 자, 그러면 두 번째 뉴스 포커스로 넘어가 볼게요. 이번에는 프랑스 소식입니다. 프랑스 피겨스케이팅 스타가 15세 이후로 코치로부터 장기간 반복적으로 성폭행을 당했다고 폭로한 데 이어 추가 고발이 이어지면서 큰 파문이 일고 있는데요. Let's listen to the story.
When former French sports minister Laura Flessel stated in late 2017 that there is no code of silence in French sport, her claim prompted dismay among experts in the field, who had long warned that widespread abuse was taking place under a veil of secrecy. Just over 2 years later, the hashtag #MeToo wave has finally caught up with the French sport, threatening to submerge the longtime head of France's skating federation. On Monday, Flessel's successor, Roxana Maracineanu, summoned Didier Guelhago, the French boss of French ice sports for over 2 decades, over a spate of rape accusations that have rattled the figure skating world and demanded his resignation.
And the coach has admitted to what I think he called inappropriate or close relations with the woman, but it wasn't a proper apology. And he said, you know, I am sorry that happened, but we did have an intimate relationship of some sort. And she says it wasn't a relationship, it was assault.
And that's why this is huge news in this particular sport in France, because the former French minister, sports minister, Laura Flessel, you know, just 3 years ago, she said almost, not in a bragging way, but in a proud way, saying there is no code of silence in French sport. And others were saying, you don't know what's happening under this veil of secrecy, meaning people are just being secretive about it. And it has finally caught up with this French sport, the hashtag #MeToo wave. So if something catches up with you, I'll give you a couple of easy examples. We talked about the study, a news focus, was it yesterday or the day before, about this new study that says if you smoke and drink every day, is it good for you? No, the study said no, it's not. Well, maybe if you are in your 20s, okay, can you smoke and drink every day and your health is okay? Maybe. In your 30s? Maybe. In your 40s? Maybe. What about in your 70s? If you keep doing that for 50 years? No. So it will eventually catch up with you. So the bad thing, what it means is the bad thing that you are doing, maybe it won't be an immediate result, but eventually the results, the negative results will come.
Right. 따라잡다라는 의미가 있는 catch up가 여기서 이제 과거 형태로 the Me Too wave has finally caught up with French sport라고 했습니다. 미투의 움직임이 이제 프랑스 스포츠계에서도 뭐 나타나고 있다. 이제 그런 유행이 프랑스에서도 뭐 따라잡혔다 이렇게 표현을 해야 될까요? 굳이 이 표현을 직역을 한다면.
In the context of the article, it's a little bit difficult to understand. So I'll give you one more example. If you lie to your boss or anyone,
Yeah.
first time, okay, no negative result, right? If you do it again, if you lie again, maybe no negative result. But if you keep lying to people, eventually, and I'm putting this word eventually because we often use it with catch up with you, eventually your lying will catch up with you. Maybe in the beginning, the negative things won't happen, but eventually they will.
네, 거짓말을 계속 하다 보면 언젠가는 발각이 될 것이다. 그때도 영어식으로 표현을 하자면은 그 거짓말이 언젠가는 너를 따라잡을 것이다. 이렇게 표현을 하는 것입니다. All right, well, those were our first two news-focused stories. Let's now remind our listeners again of the quiz.
Which of these three structures is the oldest? Number 1, 첨성대 Observatory. Number 2, World Cup Stadium. Or number 3, EBS Ilsan Headquarters.
네, 계속해서 정답 보내주세요. 총 5분께 추첨을 통해서 마르세유 비누 세트 보내드리겠습니다. 리안 라임스의 Can't Fight the Moonlight 듣고 와서 다음 뉴스 포커스 살펴보겠습니다. 자, 다음 뉴스 포커스 살펴보겠습니다. 말레이시아를 방문 중인 임란 칸 파키스탄 총리는 인도가 구매를 줄인 말레이시아산 팜유를 파키스탄이 더 사들이겠다고 약속했습니다. Let's listen to the story.
Pakistan will do its best to buy more palm oil from Malaysia after top buyer India put curbs on such imports last month. India has put general restrictions on refined palm oil imports and informally asked traders specifically to stop buying from Malaysia in retaliation for Malaysia's accusation that recent Indian policies discriminate against Muslims. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan said, "Since we noticed India threatened Malaysia for supporting the Kashmir cause, threatened to cut palm oil imports, Pakistan will do its best to make up for that."
At the center of this trilateral relationship or triangular relationship is Malaysia. And then you have Pakistan and India. And India has blasted, or I should say the other way around, Malaysia has blasted India for some of its religious policies. And then India retaliated by saying, we will not import any of your palm oil anymore. Now, Pakistan, which is on the same side as Malaysia, stepped in and said, we will instead.
That's exactly what happened. You're right. And last year, I believe it was last year, India bought 4.4 million tons of palm oil from Malaysia. Pakistan bought 1.1 million tons, but obviously India buys much more. But if India is saying, well, we're not going to buy this palm oil anymore, Pakistan, as a sign of support for Malaysia, says, don't worry, we will increase how much we purchase to help make up for that.
네, 그렇습니다. 종교적인 분쟁이랑도 관련이 좀 있습니다. 말레이시아가 인도의 그 종교와 관련된 정책을 좀 비판을 하자, 인도에서 말레이시아산 팜유를 수입하지 않겠다 이렇게 밝혔는데요. 말레이시아와 같은 이슬람 국가인 파키스탄이 그럼 우리가 대신 사겠다 이렇게 해서 나선 것입니다.
So maybe Malaysia's response was, well, that was easy then, wasn't it?
Thank you, Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. So to make up for the loss. Now, make up for, there are many different contexts how we can use this. We don't have time to explain all of those this morning. So I'll simply explain how it's used in the context of the article. When you have two numbers, okay, 4.4 million tons from India, 1.1 million tons from Pakistan, right? But India says, no, we are not going to, and you'll have to follow my hands here, sorry. We are not going to buy that much anymore, so that number drops. Then Pakistan says, that's okay, we'll buy some more to make up for that. And that is referring to the loss of sales that Malaysia would have experienced with India's decision.
네, 그렇습니다. 부족한 부분을 메운다라는 의미의 make up for가 되겠습니다. 예를 들자면은 뭐 수업을 어떻게 하다 보니까 여러 가지 이유로 휴강을 하게 됐어요. 그럴 때 나중에 이거 보강을 하는 것도 make up class라고 하죠.
Yeah, because what it means is there's been a loss somewhere, so there has to be a gain somewhere else. And that gain somewhere else is referred to as making up for what was lost. So if you want to talk about classes, one class you missed, so therefore another class you have to go to to make up for the one that you missed.
Exactly.
And if you're not watching Point in Radio, that is not as easy to understand. And I apologize for that.
All right, well, those were our news-focused stories. It's time now to announce the answer to the quiz. quiz 정답은 뭘까요?
Number one, I hope. Cheomseongdae Observatory. I'm guessing here, but World Cup Stadium would have only been 2002, I guess, and EBS Ilsan headquarters is really new, so it must be Cheomseongdae Observatory. Number one.
Absolutely right. 1번이 정답이고요. Congratulations. 9311님, 0678님, 8417님, 이찬주님, 그리고 조유미님, 마르세유 비누 세트 보내드리겠습니다. 조유미님이요. 고등학교 때 첨성대 가보고 못 가봤어요. 별, 달, 우주에 관심이 많았는데 밤하늘 올려다보기도 안 하네요. 오늘 밤에는 겨울 밤하늘 한번 보고 싶어져요. 라고 보내주셨습니다. When I was in high school, I went to visit the observatory 첨성대, but since then I have not been back. I used to be really interested in the stars and the universe, but these days I don't even look up at the sky at night. I think I should tonight.
With the air quality, it's not easy to see anyway, right? So on some days, although it's been really good as of late. I've never been to an observatory before, actually.
Maybe you should go to this one. It's the oldest surviving one in Asia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great trip. Expression of the day?
Yes, what is it?
I said it at the beginning of the show. I quite like this. Our expression is long said.
Oh.
Now, I said in the beginning of the show, I have long said I want to have a hanok in Canada. Now, long said is a fancy way of saying I have always said or I have been saying for a long time. I'll give you one sentence example. If you always said Gus Hiddink was the best coach in Korea's football history. You said it in 2002,
Right.
you said it in 2010, you said it in 2017, and you're saying it today, then you can say, I have long said Hiddink is the best coach ever.
내가 이렇게 누누이 말했지, 내가 이렇게 오랫동안 말해왔지 라는 의미로 I have long said 뭐뭐뭐라고
Yes.
하면 되겠습니다.
Good one, right?
Yeah, I have long said. 굉장히 쉬우면서도 유용한 표현 감사합니다. Well, thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, as always, for having me. Have a great Thursday, and see you for Friday tomorrow.
See you on Friday. Well, coming up in hour 2, we have the Power English team with Say What and also movies with Lara. Taking us there now is the Thompson Twins. Hold Me Now 노래 듣고요. 저는 2부에 돌아오겠습니다.